Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session for Yoga and Spirituality organized by Overseas Volunteers for Better India. We have this International Day approaching, and we are very proud to announce that we have an esteemed guest from Sadhvi ji. She's from the with Swami Chidanand Saraswati ji. Welcome, Sadhvi ji. Namaste.
Thanks. Namaste.
So before we start this, we will have a little brief presentation about OVBI. Can you see this one?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So OVBI is to build India that's more culturally rooted and economically advanced. It was done in 2013, and also we reconnect NRIs to their roots and heritage. It was launched by Sri Sri a few years back to wake up the nation and get more people engaged. We have done thousands of projects in many villages with lots of volunteers in women's safety, rural development, and many other things. We were also involved in increasing the voting percentage last year, and we got a recognitions from the president. And we had a mobile app and web apps. We have an educational portal where people can learn about the real history of India and a lot of other topics of interest. And also we organize classes for Sanskrit, Vedic math, and now it's a yoga series. We also provide forum for many Indian leaders and organize cultural events. And we have other projects like School of Good Governance to educate for policy making, and Ujas to donate lots of solar lamps, and also Udan for ad tricks girls. We've also organized events for a lot of government officials who come to US, like Modi ji and Mr. Shivraj Singh. The Yoga Day is fast approaching, and we are very excited to announce that we are in partnership with the Consulate General of India. And we have hundreds of cities. We have a lot of partners on this website. So you can go on this intyogaday.com and register yourself. Yoga is becoming fast a global phenomenon everywhere, in corporate offices, in schools, in hospitals, beaches, everywhere. This is a website from the United Nations. And this is our curtain raiser event with Consulate General in New York. And this is Sri Sri speaking on Sunday in New York as part of the Yoga Day. So come be a part of OVBI. There are a lot of projects, and we would love to see your creativity and your help. And these are some websites here. So this is the Yoga Day website where you can go down and register yourself and attend one of the many events around you. This is our Know Our India website with lots of other topics. And this is our OVBI website. And here, this is from Parmat Niketan Ashram. We have Swami Chidanand Saraswati ji. So this is his website for the ashram. And this is Sadhvi ji out here. She'll be joining us as a representative of Swami ji, and this is one of the other websites. So right now I will turn it over to Sadhvi ji to speak about yoga and the International Yoga Day. Also, you can give a background about your organization.
Sure. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. It's a wonderful joy to be with you. Yoga is something that is so deep.
Sadhvi ji, you can let
yes.
You can let the mic just rest. I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's more clear that way. And you can increase the volume on your laptop if you have the volume button.
Okay, hang on.
Okay.
Okay, does that make me louder?
Yeah, that's nice. Also, if you can speak a little louder, that will help, because we are going to record this Hangout also, so people can watch it later.
Sure, sure.
Okay, go ahead.
If this is that better?
Yes.
If I hold the mic like better, okay.
You don't have to hold the mic. You can just let it be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yoga is something that is a deeply, deeply integral part of Paramarth Niketanashram. The word Paramarth literally means dedicated to the welfare of all. Niketan, of course, just means an abode, a place. So Paramarth Niketan is an abode dedicated to the welfare of all. And when you think about it, that's actually what yoga is at the roots. Because the word yoga, the Sanskrit word yoga, literally means union. Today, when we talk about yoga or we practice yoga or we learn yoga, so frequently it's just about the asanas, the exercises. And so we think that that union is just a union of my head to my knee or my nose to my thigh or my hands to the ground. But the union of yoga is actually an ultimate, full, and complete union. A union of the body, mind, spirit. A union, more importantly and mostly, of the small self, the individual self, that which I identify as me or I, and the divine. And then, of course, with all of creation. Because as Puja Swamiji always teaches, we haven't been created just by the Creator, but we've been created of the Creator. And so all of the creation, all of whether it's the humans, whether it's the animals, whether it's the natural world, that same Creator, that same divine whom we worship in our temples, in our churches, in our mosques, in our gurdwaras, in our synagogues, that same Creator lives in all. There's a beautiful line in the Upanishads that says, Isha vasyamidam sarvam, yat kincha jagatyam jagat. And what it means is everything in the universe is pervaded by the divine. There is nothing and no one not pervaded by the divine. And so in our places of worship, we come and we pray to God. And yet, when we go out into the world, all of the people with whom we are interacting, all of the creatures on this beautiful planet Earth are that same divine. And so yoga, that union, when we truly experience it between ourselves and the divine, we simultaneously experience it between us and the entire world. And so service, living for the welfare of all, becomes part of yoga. When we think about yoga off the mat, typically most people tend to think about, for example, a volunteer job one Saturday a month, or doing some sort of program or project on an occasional basis to help out, or making a donation to a volunteer organization. But real yoga is not something that requires us to not necessarily give up Saturday afternoons or a certain amount of money. Yoga is about who we are and how we live, minute to minute and moment to moment, and every day of our lives. Are we able to see the people with whom we work, the people in our families, the people on the roads, the animals on our planet Earth, the rivers, the mountains, all of those who depend upon the earth, which of course means all of us? Can we see all of these as the divine? That's what yoga really is. And that's what the teaching of Paramarth is all about. If you look at Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga, he begins not with the asanas, not even with the pranayama. He begins with the yamas and the niyamas. How do we live? the do's or don'ts of what we would call a yogic life. And we don't have time here to go into all of them, but the most fundamental, the first ones of them, are nonviolence, truthfulness, non-stealing, non-hoarding. So the question becomes, am I living the life of a yogi? Asana is only the third limb. It comes only after the yamas and the niyamas. So what Puja Swamiji teaches and emphasizes so much is just being able to do acrobatics or being able to become a pretzel with your legs and your arms and do advanced asanas doesn't mean that we're doing yoga until and unless we are also living lives of nonviolence, lives of truthfulness, lives of non-stealing, non-hoarding, lives of purity. And then, of course, Patanjali goes on after asana to take us from pranayama all the way on an inner journey, farther and farther inward, through pratyahara, dhyan, meditation, ultimately into samadhi, which is that eighth and highest limb, which ultimately is the divine union of that yoga, that experience of bliss, of ecstasy. That's the yoga's. And so here at the ashram, in our daily classes, in the courses we run, in our world famous International Yoga Festival, where this year, for example, we had over 1,000 people from 60 nations. The emphasis is not just on how can I become fit and flexible in my body, but how can I truly become a yogi? How can I live a life of union? Union within myself, union of my body, my mind, my spirit, my thoughts, my emotions, and more deeply and more fully, a union of myself to the Creator and to all of creation. That's the true yoga that we try to really help people experience. Puja Swamiji always says, the teachings of yoga, you can get anywhere, any city, any country, all over the world now. You can learn the teachings. But what we really need is the touch and the transformation of yoga. And that is what here at Paramarth, of course, being so blessed to be here on the banks of Mother Ganga, in the lap of the Himalayas, really in the birthplace of yoga. That's what we're aiming to help people experience, because that's what people are looking for. If you look in the West, for example, we're attaining more and acquiring more and achieving more day by day. And yet, day by day, more and more people are on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medicine, sleeping pills. We're achieving everything, attaining and obtaining and acquiring everything. But now we need pills to fall asleep at night, pills to drag ourselves out of bed in the morning, pills to overcome our stress, our anxiety. And what yoga does is it grounds us and it centers us and it connects us with that inner source of peace, of joy, of truth, of something that is so much deeper and bigger and higher as this physical body. And so it's so, so beautiful that we have this International Day of Yoga, where all over the world, people are coming together in their own cities, in their own countries, in their own languages, to join in this union of yoga by bringing health to our bodies, health to our minds, health to our emotions. Ultimately, through that experience of yoga, we will bring health, I am sure, to the entire planet. And so it's such a wonderful, wonderful blessing and joy to be able to be here and to be celebrating this yoga day.
Thank you, Sadhviji. That was very enlightening. You shared about how we can take yoga off the mat and how we can incorporate yoga in a daily life. Can you talk about a little bit of some of the work you all are doing regarding the International Yoga Day, some of the activities and events happening around you?
Sure, absolutely. Here on the banks of Mother Ganga, we just today started a sacred and holy katha by Puja Sant Shri Murari Bapu, who for the next 9 days leading up to International Yoga Day, culminating on the morning of the 21st, will be giving a divine Ram Katha. And as you know, of course, Ramayan in the Ram Katha is the message of how we live our lives. It doesn't matter whether we worship the divine with the name and the form of Sri Ram, whether we worship the divine and connect with the divine in any name, any form, any religion, it doesn't matter. But the goal is to connect and to connect with that divine. And so here we have this beautiful Ram Katha where thousands and thousands of people have come to be together in the story, the message, the song, the joy of the Ramayana, which is ultimately, as we know, the story of the vanquishing of evil by good. But of course, all of our epics are metaphors as well. And the metaphor becomes, okay, so as we celebrate the Ramayana, as we celebrate Ram Nomi, which takes place during the story when Lord Ram takes birth, the question for all of us becomes, has the good in us, has the righteous one in us, the yogi in us, been able to vanquish the demon in us? Because of course in the story, Ravan himself is also a very great scholar. He has so many wonderful achievements, skills. But what made him a demon? What was his downfall? His ego, his arrogance, his greed, his lust. All of these things that pull us away from being true yogis. So here every day for the next 9 days, we will gather together in the sacred and divine experience of Lord Ram and the Ramayana. And then on the morning of the 21st, we will gather together, thousands of people, joined, of course, by people from, we're already up to 25 different countries. I'm sure within the next week, we will be joined by people from so many more, gathering together on the banks of Mother Ganga, in the lap of the Himalayas, in the birthplace of yoga, to celebrate this International Yoga Day. But this katha, as I was mentioning, what makes it so special at this time and what Puja Swamiji's message really is about the International Yoga Day has to do with, as I said, this union. Because we are at a time today in the world where so many of our brothers and sisters all across the world are suffering and perishing from simple, solvable ailments and problems: water, sanitation, hygiene, disease due to lack of clean water, lack of sanitation, lack of hygiene, environmental destruction, devastation. And so this katha is a green katha. We always call the katha Hari Katha, but now Pujya Swamiji has said also green katha as in Hari Katha, meaning green also. So the katha is a green katha in which every day all of the people are pledging to live in yoga, meaning live in union, live green lives. It's not just the yoga on the mat, but to experience that off the mat. So wherever people go, that they should take this green message back of living a life, not just for me, but through me. Typically people ask, what for me? And Pujya Swamiji always reminds us instead to ask, what through me? So on the 21st, as we gather on the banks of Mother Ganga, that message will be given to everybody. That our yoga, whether we look at it from physically what we're doing with our bodies, our breath, our meditation, our peace, all of it is only possible when the air that we breathe is clean and healthy, when there's water, and when that water brings health and life rather than sickness and death, when our soil and our land brings us health and life rather than toxicity and death. And so on International Yoga Day, the message will be to have people truly join hands and join hearts in pledging to take care of the world so that we can live in yogic union, in health of our bodies, our minds, and our spirits, and in health connected to all of those across the world who make up this beautiful and global family. So our morning will begin on the banks of Ganga with the protocol, of course, from the government of India, with our own yoga practice, with meditation, with inspiring talks from saints, Pujya Swamiji, Pujya Morari Bapuji, other people, yogis. We then will go from the banks of Mother Ganga. After pledging together, we will go to the katha. We will hear the culmination, which of course brings us with Lord Ram back to the land of Ayodhya for what is referred to as Ram Rajya, which is the ruling of righteousness, a true and ultimate vanquishing of evil by good and righteousness, which of course is a perfect way of celebrating this day, which brings us together in goodness, in righteousness, in Dharma, and helps us overcome all of that which is weak, disconnected, not united within ourselves, and to vanquish and overcome all of that which is evil and harmful in our societies and in our world.
Thank you, Sadhiji. That was very nice to see all the buzz that is happening around the world for yoga. Would you like to, I think you did touch upon this, but would you like to say a little bit about the history of yoga, when it kind of started?
It really depends actually on what we call yoga, because if we look at yoga as the experience of union and the practice of all of that which brings us toward union, then yoga is as old as our sages and our saints and our rishis. Yoga's as old as anyone sat in these sacred Himalayas and closed their eyes and attained an experience of union. The practice of yoga today, in terms, of course, of what we think of with physical asanas, some people take it back to Patanjali, others take it back to the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. People take it back to so many different beginnings. But we also know, for example, that in the Bhagavad Gita even, Lord Krishna spoke about yoga. But he said something very, very beautiful. He spent several stanzas, precious stanzas out of the mere 700, precious stanzas describing how to create the asana. Now, of course, he didn't mean the posture. He meant the asana upon which we sit. And he spoke about how not too soft, not too hard, not too high, not too low, what it should be made of. And after all of that, he says, and once you have established yourself in asana, you are ready to begin the practice of yoga. And to me, that's so deep and beautiful because it makes it so clear that asana is crucial. It needs to be done correctly if we're going to benefit from it. And yet, establishing ourselves in asana, whether that upon which we sit or the posture in which we stand or sit or lie, that readies us. It's the bridge into the practice and experience of yoga. So there's so many different points upon which one can say, oh, yoga started here or started there. I would say it's probably timeless. I would say people have probably been closing their eyes, attaining, experiencing that state of oneness, seeking that state of oneness, as long as people have been here. Again, as I said, it became codified, put together. Patanjali or Hatha Yoga Pradipika. I'm sure there's a lot more in the yogic history that I'm not even aware of. And then, of course, as you bring it into modern day, you have the great yogis like BKS Iyengar, who took what was a very vague practice that could have been done by so many different people in so many different ways, taught by so many different people in so many different ways, and really brought it into something that was so specific and so clear, and something that was so accessible by people of every walk of life from all over the world, regardless of their personal state of health or illness. And then, of course, how to use these asanas to bring about greater health in the body, greater stability in the mind, and really understood the science. It's an art as well, of course, but it's also a science of utilizing the body, utilizing the breath as a medium for all of that which we want to achieve in our lives. So I think that the history of yoga is actually still writing itself and will continue to write itself as yoga grows and blossoms and burgeons across the world.
Thank you, Sadhviji. That was very nice. We have a few more minutes. If you'd like, you can share about your Divine Shakti Foundation or any of your other projects, like you do Ganga cleaning and all.
Sure, absolutely. As I mentioned, Puja Swamiji's yoga is a full and complete vision of yoga. And so, of course, it includes that which we do on the mat, the meditation, the prayers. But It also includes everything off the mat, every minute and every moment. And so all of that, which is ailing in the world, is that which he is aiming and hoping and reaching to grab hold of and to help in whatever way we can. So for example, as you mentioned, the Divine Shakti Foundation, we run schools, orphanages, women's vocational training programs, upliftment programs, empowerment programs, as much as we can possibly do for children, for orphans, for girls, for women. We also run animal care programs. We run disaster relief programs. We have done a lot, particularly here in the Himalayas, after the tragic floods 2 years ago. We just returned this past week, actually, from inaugurating one of the schools that we built, visiting a women's vocational training and livelihood center that we built. We also are very, very active with water sanitation and hygiene. Pujya Swamiji co-founded and chairs the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance, which is an international alliance of religious leaders of all the religions working for water, sanitation, and hygiene. So even in schools, for example, that we don't run, government schools, for example, we are putting in wash programs, toilets, clean drinking water, wash education, hand washing stations. So we're doing a lot of work with that. That's sprung of all of the work for Ganga Pujya Swamiji has been doing for decades, all along the banks of Ganga, ranging from solid waste management to tree plantation programs, to cleanliness drives, to so many programs working with alternative forms of energy, for example, so that Ganga doesn't have to be dammed and dragged out of her riverbed and diverted. So all of that work has been going on for decades and then has really expanded into the full water sanitation and hygiene programs. We are partnering with UNICEF and with so many other organizations to bring the water sanitation and hygiene programs into as many places as we possibly can, because all over the world, the number of people who perish every year due simply to lack of clean drinking water is more than the people who die every year from all forms of violence combined. War, drugs, crime, religious violence, terrorism, all of that combined isn't as many people as perish due simply to clean drinking water. So there's so many programs, so much going on, but it all is really rooted in that foundation of union and really seeing everyone as part of the self and seeing the self in everyone, so that others' hunger becomes our hunger, their thirst becomes our thirst, their pain becomes our pain.
Thank you, Sadhviji. We are nearing the end of the Hangout. Is there anything else you would like to share?
Just a one to everyone to join us here in March, from March 1st to March 7th for our International Yoga Festival. And you can see details on internationalyogafestival.com. Of course, people can go to our websites, which you shared as well, paramarth.org, divineshaktifoundation.org, washalliance.org, to see all of the programs and projects. And anytime, please know you are all more than welcome here on the banks of Mother Ganga, in the lap of the Himalayas.
Thank you very much. Before we sign off, we'll just quickly show the viewers the website. So this is the Divine Shakti Foundation. This is Swami ji, Chidanand Saraswati ji, who could not join us today, but his blessings are with us. This is the Facebook page of Swami ji. And this is the Interfaith Wash Alliance, which Sadhvi ji was talking about. This is the Ganga Action Parivar, gangaaction.org. And again, this is the OVBI page, overseasvbi.org. We would love for you to join as member and contribute time, talent, money, however you can. And this is our educational portal. And this is a website where you can go and register and join many of the events happening. A lot of partners are listed with us. So with that, from Overseas Volunteers for Better India, we thank you for joining today. And we hope that anywhere in the world you have friends and family, you can spread the word about the International Yoga Day through social media, phones, emails, so that a lot of people come on the historic event, which is this is the first day around the world. So from Overseas Volunteers for Better India and Sadhvi ji, namaste.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and thanks so much for the wonderful, wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you.